This is the grade 11 lesson 2.2, Simple and Compound Interest. In this lesson, what we are learning to do is we are learning to calculate money earned or owed with simple interest and compound interest. Please take out your worksheet given in class called 2.2, Simple and Compound Interest, and we are going to work on example number 1 from this lesson. The first page of the lesson, we looked at differences and similarities between checking accounts and savings accounts. If we haven't done that yet, we're going to do that. So please flip to the second page, and we're going to take a look at example number 1. Now, example number 1 says that we have been saving $10,000 to buy a car, and we're ready to move that $10,000 into a savings account so we can earn some interest. Because remember, in a checking account, you can't earn any interest. So we've got two options. We could either move it into a simple interest account at 2%, or we can move it into a compound interest account at 2%. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually manually calculate how much money we'd have at the end of 5 years if we were to earn simple interest or compound interest. So let's make a really quick note. So at the top of your page, we're going to first work with the chart that says simple interest. And we're going to write the note that simple interest is calculated by multiplying the interest rate by the initial amount that we invested. So the beginning first amount that we invested by the initial or first, same thing, amount we invested. So we know from the example, how much money do we have to start? We've got $10,000. Okay. So if we start filling in our chart then, at year 1, what we're beginning with is we've got $10,000. So I'm going to put 10,000 in here. And now we're going to calculate the interest that we've earned. So go back to our notes. We're dealing with simple interest, don't forget. An interest that we earned is calculated by multiplying the interest rate by the initial amount we invested. So the interest rate is 2%, but we know we're not going to multiply 2% by 10,000. We've got to change that into a decimal. So we just divide that by 100, and we have 0.02. So I'm going to take the initial amount we invested, which was 10,000, and multiply that by the interest rate, 0.02. And if you throw that into your calculator, this equals 2,000. What am I saying? 200. Okay, so at the end of the year, how much money do we have? Well, we started with $10,000. We made $200 over the year, so the total must be $10,200. We're just going to add those together. So our total is going to be $10,200. So let's move on to the next year. If at the end of year 1 we've got $10,200, then at the beginning of year 2 we must have that same amount. So I'm going to put 10,200 here. Okay, now the question is, how much interest have we earned? Remember that we are dealing with simple interest, and we know that simple interest is calculated by multiplying the interest rate by the first amount we invested. So that's still $10,000. So we're going to take our interest rate, 0.02, and multiply it by the initial amount we invested, $10,000. So another $200. So how much do we have at the end? At the beginning of the year we started with 10,200. We just made another 200, so we should have, add those together, 10,400. And let's keep it going. At the beginning of the next year, we know we've got 10,400. We know interest is calculated by interest rate and initial value, so we're going to take $10,000 multiplied by our interest rate. We have made another $200 this year. Beautiful. So at the end, of the year, 10,400 plus 200. We have made 10, oops, let me change this to green. We've made 10,600. And let's keep on going. You can probably see the pattern, predict what we're going to make at the end of year 5. But let's keep going. Try to, I would pause the video, try to fill in the rest of these rows on your own. Sorry, try to pause the video and see if you can fill these 2 lines in on your own. So here we go. At the beginning of the next year, we've got 10,600 because of this number right here. We're going to calculate our simple interest. 10,000 times 0.02. We know that that is 200. Add those 2 numbers together, we've got $10,800. And the last year, beginning of year 5, we've got $10,800. We've made, we know, $200 in interest just by keeping our money in our savings account. Add those together and our final amount is $11,000. So we're just going to write a little sentence underneath. At the end of 5 years, if we invest our money in this account, there we go, account, we will have $11,000. So we made $1,000 in interest. And I'm going to put a little note. That's $1,000 in interest. Woohoo! Free money. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make it a step more complicated. This is simple interest. This is not the typical interest that a bank will charge. A bank will charge actually something called compound interest. So let's go to the second part of the question. We're going to compare the exact same interest rate, 2%, but compounded. And what that means is that interest is calculated by multiplying the interest rate. So far it's the same. Multiplying the interest rate, not just by the initial value, but by the total amount that you have earned so far, including all the interest that you've earned throughout the years. So we'll say we're multiplying the interest rate by the amount of money you either have or owe so far, including interest. Okay, so let's figure out what I mean. Let's start to fill out this chart again. So at the beginning of the year, we still have the same amount of money, and that we know is $10,000. So that's what we have invested. So now let's follow the steps up here. We're going to multiply the interest rate by the amount of money we have or owe so far. Well, we have $10,000 so far. So what we're going to do is multiply our interest rate, 0.02, times what we have right now, which is $10,000. So we are going to do 10,000 times 0.02. If you throw that to the calculator, we know that's $200. Okay, so far this looks exactly the same. At the end of the year, we've got $10,000. We started with $10,000. We made $200, so we know we've got $10,200. So far, this looks exactly the same as simple interest. So let's keep going. At the beginning of year 2, we know we've got $10,200. Okay, so this is where the calculation becomes different. Let's read how we calculate compound interest again. We calculate it by multiplying the interest rate by the amount we have or owe so far. How much do we have so far? Well, we actually have $10,200 because we made $200 in interest last year. So to calculate the interest that we are going to earn this year, we're not going to multiply the interest rate by 10,000, but we're going to multiply by what we have, which was $10,200. So I'm going to take $10,200 and multiply it by 0.02. And if you throw that into the calculator, you get $204. Woohoo, 4 extra dollars. So if we started with 10,200, add 204, we are going to get $10,404. So how much do we have at the end of year 3, at the beginning of year 3? Well, we've got this number here. So we're going to take, at the beginning of year 3, we've got $10,404. All right, don't forget, we multiply the interest rate by what we have so far. So what we have is 10,404. So we are going to take 10,404 and multiply it by the interest rate, 0.02, and it will equal $208.08. Okay, so we're going to add these two numbers together to see how much money we have. And we have $10,612 and no money in a room, 8 cents. Okay. So now what I suggest, if you think you've got the hang of it, do these last two lines for year 4 and year 5 on your own. Pause the video and then fast forward it and check your answer. Okay, so if you're checking your answer now, in the beginning of year 4, we have $10,612.08. We're going to multiply that by our interest rate. And we get $212.24. We're going to add that to our previous total. We're going to add these two numbers together, and we've got $10,824.32. And let's work on the last line here. We're starting at the beginning of the year. It's $10,824.32. We're going to multiply that number by our interest rate, 0.02, and we get $216.49 if you round correctly. We're going to add our final total together. This is how much interest we made this year. This is what we started with. Add those two together. And we've got $40. Oops. And 80 cents. Okay. This is difficult to read. Let me omit this. And 80 cents. All right, so let's make our final sentence. So we're going to say, after 5 years of investing our money in this account, we will have our final total here, which is $11,040.80. $40.80. So how much interest is that? Remember, we started with 10,000, so we're going to just take this number and subtract 10,000, and you can see that we've made a whopping $1,040.80 in interest. Free money just from investing in our bank. So let's compare this to our simple interest. Where do we make more money? In simple interest, we made $11,000, which was just $1,000 in interest. And in compound interest, we made $11,040, which is $1,040 in interest. So we made approximately $40 more in interest. What's important to see here is some differences between compound interest and simple interest. So if you take a look at simple interest, what do you notice about the interest earned? So if we take a look at this, what do you notice about the interest that we earn? What you should notice is that it's the same for every single period because we're always multiplying it by the initial amount. So it ends up being the same calculation. But looking at compound interest, what do you notice about the interest earned? it's increasing every single period. And that's because the amount we're multiplying it by is increasing because we keep on making more and more interest. So one note, important note that you should make, we'll put at the bottom of the page, is that important notes. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. This is important. Let's make a quick little T-chart if you have room. We'll just make one for compound interest, one for simple interest. So I'm going to put simple on this side, compound. Let's make the note that interest earned every period, so in this case it was year, every year or period does not change. It stays the same. But what did we notice about compound interest? Interest earned does not stay the same. So interest earned every period, or actually let's say interest earned increases every period. So in this example, we were earning our interest, which means we lent our money to the bank in our savings account and the bank paid us interest. But what do you think about credit cards? In credit cards, we are borrowing money. So which means that we are going to pay interest. So what do you think credit card companies are going to charge us? Do you think that they're going to charge us simple interest? Or do you think that they're going to charge us compound interest? Think about it for a second and think about which one they're going to make more money from. And if you are thinking compound interest, you are completely correct. Credit cards are going to charge us compound interest. And they're going to try to make as much possible money as they can from us. So which leads us to the next example. So you're going to work on example number 2 completely on your own. And you can check your answers with me in class, but it's very, very similar to what we just did. But you'll notice one very important thing, that the interest rate is very, very different. So that is a typical interest rate of a credit card company. So go ahead and try example number 2 on your own, and then come to me to check it.